Hello friends, this is Otz. We've got a new camera, so hopefully you can finally tell that it's me. And today, we're answering one of the many variations of the same question, really, that we've been getting a lot recently on stream. Does this perk work with this killer's power? Generally speaking, the answer is no, but today we're going to go into more detail and explain why that may or may not be. First of all, you should know that there are perks that only work with basic attacks. We have some of them right here. All of the exposed perks without exception. Know It, Counter Ground, Devour Hope, Make Your Choice, Dragon's Grip. All of these perks that insta-down you will only work on a basic attack. And so will all of these perks down below as well. Search will only proc with a basic attack. Unrelenting will make you recuperate faster only if you miss a basic attack, so not with any power, etc, etc, etc. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we've got perks that actually work regardless of the attack. Infectious Fright, if you down a survivor, doesn't matter how you down them, it will trigger. Thanatrophobia, Blood Echo, Bloodhound, these perks work when survivors are injured, and it doesn't matter how you injure them, they will always work. So these perks are generally friendly to use with any power. Keep this difference in mind. But let's go over what is a basic attack. A basic attack is the ability to hit a survivor and injure them if they're healthy, and down them if they're injured. This is something that every single killer has by default. And for the foreseeable future, I think every single killer will have in the future as well. So all the killers have the ability to use the basic attack. It can be a quick slash, or it can be a further lunge if you hold the power button. If you are carrying a survivor, you will be able to do a non-lunge basic attack as well. So anytime you hit a survivor while you're carrying someone, that's also a basic attack. And as we've tried to nail it down a lot, this is something that every killer has. However, on top of this, some killers have the ability to injure you or down you or whatever using a different alternative attack, which is what we call special attacks. And we're gonna go over all of them right now. As you can see, I put some of them on screen. The Trapper, he has a special attack. He can immobilize you and injure you with his traps. With an add-on, he can even down you with a trap. And this is a special attack, does not apply anything from any perk that we saw in the first category. However, if a survivor gets injured with a bear trap, that will trigger Thanatrophobia. And if they go down with a bear trap, with a Honing Stone, that will actually trigger Infectious Fright, for example. But they will not trigger Sloppy Butcher. They will not trigger Search, for instance, if they step or go down in a trap. Normally, this is a trend that you'll see for the rest of the cast. If you want your special attack, like your bird trap, to have some kind of effect, you'll need to use add-ons. So it is true that a survivor stepping in a trap will not have Sloppy Butcher, but if you use the Jaws add-on on the Trapper, then you can inflict a similar effect. So often you'll need add-ons for the special attack to inflict status effects. Keep that in mind, because that is honestly the case for most of the killers. Next up, we've got Wraith. Literally has no ability to down you without anything other than a basic attack. Comes out of his power, hits, that's a basic attack. Billy has a Chainsaw. Hits you with a Chainsaw, will not apply any effect. It's a special attack. The Nurse is a very notable exception. Even though he uses her power for transportation, when she hits you after she teleports, that does count as a basic attack. So anytime a Nurse hits you, no matter how, that will apply M1 basic attack effects. Huntress, special attack, she's got her hatchets, that will not apply anything from a basic attack. Myers, in all tiers, is basic attack only. Hag, despite her teleport, basic attack only. Doctor, in any way, shape, or form, if he hits you, it's basic attack only. Cannibal is the same as Billy. He can use his Chainsaw, and that's a special attack. Freddy is basic attack only. Funnily enough, Pig actually does have a special attack. If she hits you coming out of an ambush, that does not apply Sloppy Butcher, it does not apply Know It, it does not apply anything. That counts as a special attack, which can be good or bad. We'll get into that later. Clown is only basic attack. Spirit, funnily enough, is also only basic attack. Her power makes her move very quickly, and when she comes out of it, she can launch very far, but it still only counts as a basic attack. So Sloppy Butcher, Know It, all of these things will apply on every single hit from the Spirit. Lesion, very misunderstood. When he is using his Frenzy, He will injure you and put you in deep wound, but it will not apply anything. That is a special attack. It will do absolutely nothing in terms of applying Sloppy Butcher or insta-downing, God forbid, or anything like that. Once he's out of his power and he's hitting normally, then yeah, it's basic attacks. Plague, she has 2 attacking modes, the Green Bile Purge that injures and the Red Corrupt Purge that damages, both of which are not basic attacks, they're special. So do not bother putting Sloppy Butcher or any perk like that if you plan on downing survivors with your power a lot. So yeah, special attacks all over the place. Ghostface is literally only basic attacks, no matter what you do. Demogorgon has a combination of both normal attacks and his shreds, which are special, much like the pig. Oni is actually very interesting. When he is in normal mode, he only has basic attacks. But when he switches to Blood Fury mode, he only has special attacks. And what this means is that if you go into Fury mode and you tap someone, or you hold it and lunge, or you run with Demon Dash and then smash, all of them without exception are special attacks. They will not apply any perk. They will apply Infectious Fright because it's a special, but it will not apply Sloppy Butcher or Save the Best for Last or Surge or anything like that. So keep that in mind. The Deathlinger is very much like the Nurse. He uses his power to get close to you, but when he hits you, it's actually only basic attack. That being said, technically, he can use a special attack if he breaks the chain. If he shoots you and the chain breaks, you will become injured if you were not already. And that technically, he will get stunned too. And that technically is a special attack because he will injure you, but it will not proc Sloppy Butcher or Save Us for Last or anything like that. So technically he's a mix of the two, but yeah, he has that ability. A Pyramid Head, it's much like Demogorgon as well. If he hits you with his punishment, the range attack, it will be special. If he hits you with his sword directly, it will be a basic attack. Not much to say there. Then again, we got Blight. Even though it looks like he hits you normally, when he is running, that is a special attack. So it will not apply Sloppy Butcher, it will not apply anything if he hits you after a rush. If he hits you normally, however, it is a basic attack. And for the twins, it's honestly very simple. Charlotte will always hit you with a basic attack, but Victor will always hit you with a special attack. Doesn't matter how Victor gets you, it will be a special, it will not apply any of the perks that we mentioned. And obviously, you want to look at add-ons if you want Victor's attacks to have some kind of effect. Also, remember that Victor does not benefit from some perks that are not passive, and that he has no terror radius. So if you down a survivor, you will never hear anybody with Infectious Fright, because technically your terror radius is back at Charlotte and it's undetectable, so it's gone. So keep that in mind. So that's how these killers are split up and how you can use or not use special attacks on them. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is what are their individual flexibility. Sometimes you have perks that will trigger or fail to trigger when you use your basic or your special attack, right? And you might want to save this perk. Let me give you a great example. Save the Best for Last. Save the Best for Last is a perk that makes you recover faster from a successful hit. But this only keeps happening and happening and growing if you hit non-obsession survivors, right? If you hit the obsession, it actually decreases in power. So you want to avoid hitting the obsession. You want to have that control. And then there's perks that are the opposite, like Dark Devotion, which only triggers if you hit the obsession with a basic attack. Now, let's say that you're playing a killer with both of these perks, and that you want to have the ability to choose when to trigger them and when to save them, right? You have the obsession in front of you, and you do not want to hit them because you'll lose stacks, and because you don't want Dark Devotion to be triggered yet. Can you do this? With some and other killers, you will have an easier and harder time. This is what I'm gonna call the basic attack flexibility. Now, right off the bat, all the killers that have no basic attack, that have no special attack, which I've marked right now, all of these killers have a low flexibility. If you're chasing a survivor and you want to avoid hitting them with a basic attack because you just want to save your perk, well, tough luck, you will not be able to for the most part. If you do not have any ability to down them, with without a basic attack. So if you will most likely be forced to hit them and lose a stack or activate the perk that you don't want to activate, etc. The only exception to this, the reason why it's slow and not non-existent, is because you can still sometimes trick them. If they vault, you can grab them, and that would avoid hitting them. And if they go into a locker, technically you could pull them out, and that would also avoid losing any stacks. So with these killers, you can still do that, but that's pretty much all you can do. There's not much else. Next up, we've got the killers that have a medium flexibility. These include the Chainsaw Brothers, it includes Huntress, Blight, Twins. The reason these killers have a medium flexibility is because they actually have a choice of whether or not they want to use their power. If a Huntress is right in front of you, she has a very easy time either hitting you with her main axe or pulling up a hatchet and hitting you very quickly with it. It's almost like it's very easy for her to do that. The reason why many of these killers are in the medium flexibility, though, is because they don't benefit from the perks that we described earlier. A Huntress will almost always be downing you with her hatchets. Almost always. And a Billy or a Cannibal almost always will want to be downing you with their chainsaw. So for them to run perks like Sloppy Butcher, Save the Best for Last, Surge, Know It, like this killers do not benefit from these perks in general. They can use them. They have the choice to use a basic attack or special attack, but because their attacks insta-down or because their attacks are their main source of downing you in the first place, they really don't benefit too much from having this choice. So even though they have a flexibility of some kind, you generally do not want to run these perks on these killers. If you run Search on Plague and you just down everyone with your red puke, you literally are wasting a perk slot, right? So that's why these killers are not the best candidates for this perk, but they can occasionally use them if they choose to. They have that freedom. Further ahead, we have, however, the killers with high flexibility. These are killers that can actually have a fair amount of choice whether or not they hit you with a basic attack or they down you or hit you with their power. And that's really, really good because these killers benefit a lot from these perks that we saw earlier. For example, the Deathlinger, if he has Save the Best for Last and he's against the Obsession, he can shoot the Obsession and then break the chain, and that will injure the Obsession, but it will not count as a basic attack. So next time he can just hit them once, and instead of hitting an Obsession twice, you only hit them once and you get the job done. Similar thing with Trapper. With the Trapper, if a survivor steps on your bear trap, which often is what you want to achieve, you can choose between grabbing them out of the bear trap, which will down them as a special way, it will be a grab, or you can also whack them on your bear trap and then pick them up, and you'll get the effect from Surge, Sloppy, Save the Best for Last, or save it if you decide to grab them, which is great. And even better than those is the Pig. The Pig, if you find the Obsession and you want to avoid losing stacks to Save the Best for Last, you can crouch and hit them with your ambush, which is often easy enough if you catch them in the open. And this will avoid you to this will help you to avoid losing stacks and so on, which is great. And probably better than Pig and probably better than anybody else, Demogorgon. Demogorgon has the absolute highest flexibility. If a survivor is in front of you and you can shred him, if you can M1 him, you can definitely shred him. And this basically means that anytime you are within basic attack range, you are also within shred range. A good Demogorgon that practices a little bit will always be able to land a shred at close range. Always. Because there's a trick to it, right? And you get used to it. So basically, anytime the Obsession or the non-Obsession is in front of you, you have a perfect choice between being able to hit them normally, which is normally what you want to do, if they're already that close, or shred them if you want to avoid triggering a certain effect. So with that, we have gone over 15 minutes, honestly a little bit longer than I'd like, but with that you should have a very good idea of why certain killers are not so friendly with some of these perks, and why some of them, like, you know, Pig and Demo, benefit from, say the Best for Last so very much. That's gonna be all. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video taught you everything you needed to know about this topic, and if I forgot something that you think is very important, I would really appreciate it if you leave a comment. I'm not going to try to brainstorm too much. I think we covered everything. But do let me know if I forgot something. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.